Here we go. Mr. Gene Atwood, my cousin.
Yep. Imported all the way from Providence, Rhode Island.
Thank you for being the first guest on my podcast. The podcast is called Talkin Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I aim to do. We're going to get into the details. We're going to get into the deets, dude.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think I'm okay
cool.
with that.
So let me think of the first question I want to ask you. Since the theme of the podcast is Talkin Shop, what do you do for a living?
Let's see. I test software for...
Okay.
I've been doing that for 11 years, and I like it. What can I say?
You test code, is it mostly JavaScript?
No, it's mostly Python, Scala.
Oh.
Yeah, it's mostly Python and Scala.
Nice. I didn't know you were doing Scala. I did Scala in, I had one class in college that was Scala, and it was like functional programming.
Yep.
Is that what it is? Like
It's basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm clueless about it for the most part. I just test the software that comes out of it. If that makes sense.
Okay, so you're a tester.
Yep.
And you basically try to break it.
I'm just trying to break whatever the programmers have developed.
Do you have to look at the code to break it? Or do you just try to run it and just fuck with
Sometimes I look, but usually it's really difficult to describe because my company has developed such a software stack over the course of the last 20 years it's been operational, 25 years maybe. I don't even know the age of my own company, but yeah, there's a lot to test. Like what I've been testing recently has actually been a little bit mind-numbingly easy to test.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. It allows me to sort of zone out and just do my work, put my head down, do my work. I kind of like that. We've moved the data source for our reporting from SQL to a cloud database called Snowflake. And
is it still SQL based? But
yes.
It's just in the cloud now.
It's just, yeah.
Okay, nice. I say SQL. This is like a thing. This is an issue that I have.
I see.
People say SQL, and it's which is fine. It's fine.
Right.
Like everybody says SQL, but it's structured query language. So I don't know where the C comes. SQL. It's structured query language, and everybody says SQL, and I don't know where the E comes. SQL.
Yeah, that's fair.
This bothers me. But I'm okay with it. Everybody says SQL, and I'm okay with it.
Apparently, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing.
But I say SQL because I don't get SQL because it's like structured query language.
Right.
Where's the E come from? SQL.
I feel like more like it's just come from the word sequel, like a movie sequel.
Right.
Like
that's what I was just thinking.
I think
looks like
the
that
structure of the
sequel.
acronym sort of looks like the word.
I always say
sequel.
SQL, or I guess you could say squil.
Squall?
That would make more sense to me. Squil.
Yeah, maybe I'll just start saying squall.
But I actually decided I'm not going to use SQL or SQL or squil anymore in my own personal stuff.
Okay.
At my last job, I was doing a lot of SQL, and it was interesting. It was a lot of like configuring stuff.
Yep.
And sometimes I would have to make like a stored procedure, but it was a lot of like I would just have to like make a script. My last job was at Pearson, and they like we were part of the department I was in was like for grading tests. Like
Yep.
Pearson does a lot of like educational stuff. And so people would take like exams to become a teacher.
Yep.
And so the little software department I was in was like 4 or 5 people. And we would basically just, it was already built. Sometimes we would, mainly I would have to like if we got a new client, I would have to like add them to the database or like, so I would do like a bunch of update scripts. So it is good. It's powerful. But I was working on an app using Flutter,
Okay.
and which is made by Google, and their cloud is like Firestore or something like that.
Okay.
Firebase, I think.
Okay.
And they don't even have SQL. They have like an open source version of Firebase that is SQL.
Okay.
But what they offer is it's like called NoSQL or something, and it's basically like JSONs. You just
JSON?
You just like build a JSON on the fly,
Oh, interesting.
and so it's just like a dictionary. But like a JSON, you can have a list, so it's like the name of something, but then there's a list in it. and then you can nest an array within that. And I was like, this is really clever because you don't need to worry about primary keys. You don't have to create the database and memorize all the names of things.
Right.
It's like you just build a JSON on the fly.
Yep.
And I was like, this is really interesting, and like it seems like it's really fast, and then you don't have to worry about like primary keys and all that stuff. And so that's what I'm gonna work on learning, like NoSQL.
Sweet.
But yeah, so you do some SQL, you do some Scala, or you're just trying to break
Just trying to break other people's code for the most part.
like from the front end of the website.
No, not from the front end. So, well, what I've been testing, the reporting that I was just describing, that's front end. But a lot of the testing I do is all back end stuff, like infrastructure stuff, just making sure that maybe a stored procedure is doing the right thing that it should be doing, or making sure that I don't know,
Okay.
just that things are just working.
So you do some unit testing too.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, one thing I've learned about software development is you can't test your own code.
Yeah.
Don't
that's
even
true.
try, because you're gonna miss everything. You have to.
You're not gonna
have
think
to,
about it.
Yeah, yeah. You have to have somebody else test your code, and that's why testing is separate from development. And that makes a lot of sense to me, and I've learned that over the years.
But
just
something
working.
something that I like about my job is I feel like I'm sort of a little bit of an authority over the
Oh,
code.
dude, having a good tester is so good.
Have,
Because they just know, like, I've worked with testers who are like just sort of messing around, and then like a good tester will be like, they'll break it, but they'll also tell you exactly like what they did to break it
yep.
and where it happened.
Right.
And the goal is just like work together and get it to work.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you seen Westworld by any chance?
Westworld, the show?
Yep, the show.
I saw like part of the original movie from the 70s.
So the only reason that I bring it up is in the TV show, at least, they
Yeah.
have a QA department that's like, and they kind of play the QA department as if it's the shadowy, like the real people behind
Right.
the company that's like really running the show.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that aspect of the show, to have like the QA being just this, like
they
almost
s-
like a shadow government. It was amazing.
Did they stop making that show after like a season or two?
I don't know. I
I
watched
feel like
the-
it's like everybody knows what's going to happen. Just like get to the robots.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much, yeah. I think I watched like the first 3 seasons, and then I just
When's the robot apocalypse?
I don't watch that much TV. Yeah, exactly. I don't watch that much TV, so I just sort of lost track
Oh
of it.
man, the movie's scary. I saw the end of the movie. The robots just go crazy, and they're like in a cowboy themed town.
Yep.
And the robots have guns, and they're just like, the robots go crazy, and they're like, there's one scene where like there's a guy trying to run away or get away on riding a horse, and one of the robots is just like, and he like hits his hat off with
Oh,
a
jeez.
rifle. It's like, oh man, that's why you don't make robots that are like human-like. Have you seen Ex Machina?
I have not seen that one.
Oh, that's a great movie. Although everybody say, I would say Ex Machina. See, I'm just kind of different sometimes. Like, what
I
is
would say
this-
Ex Machina.
yeah, that's what it says to me. Like, I'm not German. If I was German, I would probably say Ex Machina.
Right.
But like everybody's like, the movie's called Ex Machina. I'm like, okay. You mean Ex Machina? What are you, German? Like, I'm not German.
Yeah.
If I was German, I would say Ex Machina.
I just want to say Ex Machina. That's how I've
Whatever
pronounced
you
the title
say.
of that name.
It's a good movie. It's really, I think I saw it twice.
Oh,
It's really good.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. And Alicia Vikander plays the sexy robot.
Okay. Okay.
And it's about this guy who he's just like, it's like he was like a founder of Google or something.
Okay.
And then he like disappears into this like compound in the wilderness somewhere. And he hires this guy to help him test the robots he's building.
Okay.
And they're like humanoid robots. And he was like, I wanted to transcend circuits. So he built this thing that is like almost brain shaped, but it's like some type of advanced like neural net type of thing, but it's like it's not circuits, it's like something else. That and so like he's like, I invented this new technology so that I could build like super advanced AI, and he's building these robots that are very humanoid looking.
Right.
Like they just look like a person.
Right.
Like in the movie, like Alicia Vikander, it's like her face, but then the rest is like a robot.
Gotcha.
And then, do you want me to spoil how it ends? or no?
I'll forget.
Okay.
By the time I think to watch the movie.
Oh, it's such a creepy ending. So like,
Although you might be spoiling it for the viewers at home.
I don't care. It's been out for a long time.
Okay.
If it just came
Fair.
out, I wouldn't.
Fair.
But that is good to think about. But like, yeah, spoiler alert. Here's how Ex Machina ends. But it's been out for like 7 years. So like at the end, first of all, of course, the robots go crazy.
Right.
That's what made me think of it as kind of like Westworld.
Right.
And so the what's interesting is the software engineer, like genius guy who owns the compound, he gets this software developer guy to live there with him to help test the robots and talk to them. And meanwhile, the guy's fucking with him like the whole time.
Yep.
Kind of doing an experiment on him too. Like he had the camera set up and he was like mean to the robot to see what the other guy would think about that.
Okay.
So he's thinking. So the tech guy thinks he's doing all this like psychology stuff and like I'm testing the human that's here too. It totally backfires on him. And of course, the guy does fall in love with the robot.
Of course.
The tester falls in love with the robot, of course, and he's like, "I want to set her free, man." And so he does. And then the tech guy, and there's more than one robot, and they're all like hot chicks,
Right.
And they're just they get let out of their like pen,
Okay.
and they start walking around kind of slowly and creepily, and the guy who built them, he's not afraid of them. He's just like, "I built you," and so he was like working out or something, and he like unscrewed like a dumbbell thing or whatever, and he just like smacked one of them and like broke it.
Oh,
but
jeez.
one of them snuck up behind him with a big kitchen knife, like
Yep.
a chef knife, and just slowly into his torso from behind.
Yikes.
And it was so creepy because she was just like, and he turns around like, "What?" And she got him. He just fell over and he died. But the way she put the knife in was just like, and he turned around. He's like, "What?"
Yeah,
'Cause
just like an emotionless, like.
yeah, and one of them like did a distraction, and the other one just walked up behind him and just slowly, and then the robot that played by Alicia Vikander, who the tester guy fell in love with, he's now like locked in this like control room, and she locks him in there just indefinitely because they're in the woods. They're in the wilderness somewhere.
Right.
So she locks him in the control room and then escapes. And the last scene of the movie is she's got all the like fake skin on and her face and everything. Like she looks like a human now.
Yep.
Totally. You can't tell she's a robot at all. And the last scene of the movie, she gets out of there and then she's like in a city or something. And she's like looking at a reflection in like a window. And then she just walks away. And that's how the movie ends. She just disappears into society.
So this movie, okay, maybe like 5 years ago or so, I watched a Russian television show. I had never seen any Russian media. Like I've never seen a Russian movie or like a Russian television show before. So it's just like, let me check this out. And so I'm watching this, and I'm pretty sure that they stole their entire plot from everything you're just describing right now, because it was pretty much exact like what you're describing sounds exactly like that TV show. And I don't remember that TV show very well because, if I'm being honest, I was mad high the entire time that I was watching it. And
Hey,
it was
man,
years
TV
ago, but like...
Here's something I learned about pot. I watched and I loved The Office with Steve Carell. Also, the original Office, the UK version with Ricky Gervais, is awesome. It's worth seeing.
It's pretty good, but I feel like the American Office is superior in a lot of ways.
I mean, they're just different. I actually kind of like how the original was just 2 series and a Christmas special. It's like, this is all you get.
Yep.
That was kind of cool. And in America, they're like, if it's making money, just make more seasons forever.
Yep.
Until
And
it
they did
dies.
make more seasons forever, and it was awesome.
Well, it was awesome, but that's what they did with The Walking Dead. They kept making seasons, and now it's just like, who's still watching The Walking Dead? Like,
Does that show still exist? Is it still
yeah, they still make seasons.
They still make seasons of The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Walking Dead since like 2015 or something.
You know what it was? The guy with the baseball bat, he was the big baddie, and they should have just blown his fucking head off. Rick should have just blown his fucking head off, and then the final episode is like 8 years later, and they're like in a nice compound with a secure perimeter, and everything's okay. But they just kept going and going, and then they introduced that lady with like she's wearing the fucking zombie mask,
I didn't even make it that
far. Dude, that was the worst. I was just like, just end the show. They introduced this new like villain, and she was like just this lady, and she was their whole crew. They would like cut the face off of a zombie and just wear it, and then they would just hang out with the zombies, and that was the new enemy. I was like, this is just end the show.
Yeah, they're really reaching there at that point.
Or actually, I like how Rick decided to spare that guy's life, and they put him in jail, but like. But he killed Glenn, dude. You know what? Just beat him with his own baseball bat and break his legs. That maybe you don't even kill that guy. You just beat him with his own baseball bat and break his legs. He killed Glenn, dude. That's not cool.
I don't even remember who Glenn is. I don't even. It's been a long time since I've watched that show. I remember Rick.
He was the guy who saved Rick in like the first episode. Rick is like.
All right.
Rick is
I
like
know
stuck in the
about.
tank.
Yep.
In Atlanta.
Yep.
And then somebody comes and he's like, I'm screwed. I'm surrounded. And then somebody goes on the radio and he's like, hey, idiot. Yeah, you, the guy in the tank. You want some help? That's Glenn.
Interesting.
One of the first characters.
Got it.
And then the guy with the baseball bat hit him with the baseball bat and killed him. And then now everybody's just like, how is this going to play out?
Right.
So I thought he was a very interesting villain, but like, as you got to like, that's the other bad thing about the show is they keep tacking on seasons, and the guy with the baseball bat and the leather jacket, he's still just like walking around. Like, come on, dude, you got to at least break his legs or something. And now he's just like break his legs and just like throw him in the woods or something.
Just get rid of him.
Yeah, just get rid of him.
Yeah,
but
don't
like
need him anymore.
he's just like hanging around. It's like I don't want to see this guy anymore. He killed Glenn. Get rid of this guy.
This is why you shouldn't watch The Walking Dead. The show sucks now.
That's why you don't just keep tacking on seasons.
Right.
It needed a conclusion. Like the
Right.
show is about Rick Grimes, and they also wrote Rick Grimes off the show because I think the actor wanted to take a break.
Yep.
So now your show doesn't have a main character anymore, and the main baddie, he's just walking around.
Yeah.
He's like hanging out with the crew. Like, no, break his legs with that baseball bat and just toss him in the woods somewhere.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do, man.
That's all you got to do to advance a zombie show.
Yeah. But anyways, The Office, it did 9 seasons, but I agree. It was like, they were all good.
They were all really good.
That show is so good that all 9 seasons were good.
Even like Steve Carell left, and you're like, is this gonna get real bad?
Yeah. And then they brought in like guest actors.
And then it just got real. It just
Will Ferrell did
good.
a couple episodes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So good. He's getting like a shave in the office, and everybody's like, "Wow, that's such a power move."
Oh yeah, that shows.
Why did I bring up The Office? I forget.
I don't remember. Oh, we were talking about TV shows in general, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good one. I forget where I was going with that. You know what's a good TV show a lot of people don't know about? Peep Show. Do you know about Peep Show?
That's that British show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that show.
Peep Show.
That show is that show like I feel like that show terrified me at some point.
That's another show that's like comfort for me. I've probably seen it 2 or 3 times through.
Gotcha.
It's just like a comfort TV show. And then Party Down. Have you ever seen Party Down?
Never even heard of it.
Dude, Party Down is so good.
What's the deal with that?
It was on Stars Network, so most people didn't see it. STARZ Stars.
Okay.
And which is like HBO for people who don't like HBO, I guess. But it's got like people who right before they got super famous on it. So it's like who's on it? Like the guy who's on Parks and Rec, who was Amy Poehler's love interest. He's on it. It's what's funny about Party Down is it's a show about struggling actors in LA working at a catering company, and then most of the actors like got big deals like right after that show.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just interesting. It's it's like a workplace comedy.
I've watched a lot of Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
Star Trek's
Star
pretty
Trek
legit,
is good.
in my opinion. Sort of like a nice vision of like so much science fiction these days is like, here's how nightmarish the future's gonna be, obviously, and you watch it and you're like, wow, that looks horrible.
Yeah.
But Star Trek is like the only science fiction show that that really like paints a positive vision of the future, and I really liked that about it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, basically they're living in a utopia, and that's
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Like
but-
like democratic socialism utopia.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so they're there in the future, and they have their problems too. Like they're not free of problems. They got problems, but they've at least wiped out poverty,
Right.
the need for.
And now they're just like, let's explore.
Now they're just
We have cool
let's
spaceships.
We've got
Let's
cool
get out
spaceships.
there.
Let's just explore and do
Let's
some
move
cool
some
shit.
whales around.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought that was so weird. Like half that movie was like, what are we gonna do with this whale?
That
what
movie.
what was that about?
Oh god, that movie doesn't even make sense in a lot of ways. Like, so
They're like
they go,
teleporting a whale.
they go back in time because there's a probe that shows up to Earth, and the probe is speaking in the whale language.
Oh.
And they're like, "What are we gonna do? We don't have any whales left." So we.
Oh, okay.
And the probe is destroying the planet because it can't find any whales to talk to. So they're like, "Okay, let's go back in time and get a whale." So they go back to the 20th century. They find
they time traveled?
They time travel
Oh.
back to 1984.
That's dangerous, man.
They time travel back. They get some whales. and then
I don't think time travel is possible. I think.
I don't. If time travel is possible, the world would already just be destroyed or something.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it's possible. Although, like, you can make a wormhole. Like, there's like what is that? The Hawking Rosenstein Bridge or something like that.
I don't know.
Basically, like the math of a wormhole is possible, but because like you can bend space time with energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gravity does,
Yep.
basically. So a wormhole is like you can basically fold space time, and it would probably be a sphere, sort of like that movie Interstellar. It would probably
Yep.
be a sphere, but it takes like to keep a wormhole open and stable enough for like a ship to go through. It would take as much energy as like 10 million suns
Gotcha.
or 10 million stars to keep it open for like a millisecond. Like the amount of energy required is just like preposterous. So in theory, like the math like works out, but like it would take so much energy. It's like absurd.
Yep.
Yeah.
In not to go back to Star Trek for a second, but in Star Trek,
I'm more of a Star Wars guy, but okay.
I understand. I won't talk about Star Trek for too much longer, but in Star Trek, they find
I don't mind it.
They find a stable wormhole
Yeah.
that was created by some gods, basically. They're wormhole aliens, but they act as gods to a nearby planet.
Oh.
But it turns out on the other side of this planet are some evil shapeshifters that are coming through to try and destroy the Federation. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. Did you like the movies with Chris Pine and who's J.J. Abrams?
No.
He directed them.
I booed in the movie
really?
theater at Into Darkness. I
No.
really didn't like that movie.
You didn't like it?
It's sort of like being like such a Star Trek nerd as I am. It was sort of like they wrapped a Star Trek skin suit around a generic science fiction movie. Like there was no Star Trek feeling to it. Like there was no there was no Star Trek feeling to it. It was just
Blockbuster.
blockbuster bullshit, and that's fine to enjoy. Like I'm not against anybody who has enjoyed that show, but like or that
Yeah.
movie, but like those movies. But
I thought they were like just okay.
yeah, they were.
They're just okay.
It's a wasted potential for sure because there's
Yeah.
so many stories within Star Trek that like
Yeah.
they could have done. Something
They should have
really
drilled down a
interesting.
little bit more into like the nerdy aspect of Star Trek, where it's like science. They're doing science. They're like scientists exploring,
Yeah,
and it was more like who's the villain? Who are they fighting?
right,
Like some of it was just, like the movie with the whales. This is more just like a puzzle to solve.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
Do you want to hear something embarrassing about my life?
sure.
Yeah, so
Hit me with it.
I used to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Now I don't anymore, but I'm addicted to nicotine lozenges.
Lozenges.
So I just have these
There
fucking
you go.
lozenges once an hour.
Is it minty?
Oh, it's minty.
Yeah, I might try that someday. I tried a
It's worked
nicotine
pretty
vape.
effectively to like to stop smoking, but
Dude, I tried a nicotine vape like a couple times. It was almost like I like this too much. I can't have this in my
Yeah.
life.
I tried that too, and I had the same reaction because you could
Yeah.
just sit on the couch
Yeah,
vaping
it's, like, too
endlessly
much.
for.
And I also don't like that you're kind of like sucking on a battery, and it's like there might be like
Yeah,
battery
yeah.
molecules that you're sucking on. That
Who
just
knows
doesn't
how it works? I don't like it.
Yeah, like I don't like that.
Especially like with that mystery vape juice. Like I don't know where that vape juice has come
Right,
from.
right.
Like,
Same thing.
I don't know
Actually
who's
like
manufacturing the vape
actually, you know
juice.
what? I would do one of the
I'm the
first.
same way with weed vapes too. I don't
I was
like
just
them.
gonna say weed vapes, but like one of the first times I really like got into weed vaping was, well, actually, like I don't really vape weed, but one of the first times I realized that I really do like pot is I got a Northern Lights vaporizer, which is just like a classic strain from like the 70s,
Yep.
and or whenever, and it was a good vaporizer. You take a pull and you get like a big cloud
Yep.
of vapor out of it. And I
Was
remember,
that you just put the flour in it?
no, it was like the syrup or whatever,
The vape juice.
the vape juice, yeah. And but I remember being like, you hit that like 2 or 3 times. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee. You hit that like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, I remember looking out the window of my apartment at like my porch area and then like the lawn, and there was like some trees there, and it just looked like I was in like an oil painting or something. Like
Yep.
it was like the world turned into like a Monet painting
Oh, interesting.
because I hit it like 2 or 3 times, and that was the first. That's what she said. And then that's I can't, again, The Office. Like I have a hair trigger for That's What She Said because I've watched The Office so many times.
That's
too.
yeah.
But I remember being like, this thing's like a magic wand. Like you just puff on it a couple of times, and now you're just in Narnia. And I
Yeah.
remember being like, this is kind of cool. I could get into this. But now that I just like to smoke a joint, like classic, just smoke a joint to the dome, and just go for a fucking ride for a few hours, or like for like an hour.
Yeah.
You're just like gone. So I don't really vape weed anymore, but like the Northern Lights vaporizer was the first time I was like, first of all, this strain is really good and interesting.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like famous probably. Like this is just like a classic strain. And that thing, I was like, this thing's like a magic wand. You puff on it 2 or 3 times and you're just gone for like
Right.
an hour. You're just stoned for like an hour. I was like, I kind of like that.
Do you want to hear about the highest I've ever been?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so this was back before I was going to move to Texas. We were having a yard sale to sort of like raise some money for it.
Yeah.
And at the time, and the Boston Globe was there, and NPR Marketplace was there for some reason, and they were around interviewing me for a bit. But at some point, someone offered me some cookies, and I was so hungry, and I was
yeah, those edibles will get you.
I was in
good.
super sober mode, so I didn't even conceive that they could have been weed cookies. So I just
Oh.
ate an entire giant thick ass cookie, and the person was watching me eat it, and they were like,
Uh-oh.
they were looking at me like this. I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, was I not supposed to eat a whole cookie? Like,
Right,
you
right.
offered me these cookies, like I'm gonna eat a whole cookie. So then, like, something later on, like,
If you offer me a cookie, I'm going to eat it.
so then later on, I'm sitting down next to my mom. I've got the Boston Globe, NPR Marketplace, both like interviewing me and my mom at the same time, and all of a sudden I'm just like, wait a second,
Wait, they're interviewing you?
yeah,
People were interviewing you.
yeah, people were interviewing me
About what?
about me moving to Texas.
Oh, okay.
Because-
And then the edible kicks in?
Then the edible kicks in.
Oh my
And
God.
I still don't know that I had I still don't know that I had an edible.
Right.
So like, as far as I'm aware,
Oh, it
there's just
snuck up on you.
It snuck up on me. I didn't know what was happening, so I just laid on the ground in front of like randomly.
Yeah.
And I remember the journalists were over me, being like, "Are you okay? Do you
You've
need some
been
help?"
interviewed like a shocking amount of times. Like people, like I'm interviewing you right now. But
Yeah,
like,
here I'm being
You've been
interviewed.
interviewed like multiple times.
I like to get into situations where people are going to interview me.
But yeah, can I just, so this is my cousin Gene, and first of all, he bought a minivan and he spray painted it, and he glued some noodles to it, like pool noodles, and you had a speaker like a
I had a 100
projector speaker.
decibel public address system.
Right, and on the back, the the spray to clean the back window, you turned it up so
Yep.
that you could like spray tailgaters. Like
Yeah.
if somebody's tailgating,
If someone's
you could spray
tailgating
them.
me, just throw in the back windshield wiper fluid and it would squirt directly on. But what was better than that is when I had it turned to the side and I could squirt random people on the side of the road.
There you go.
That was where it was at right there.
There you go. So that's so first of all,
Yeah. So actually,
I'm gonna put the thumbnail of this video will be a picture of the Gene Machine.
Okay.
But I wanted to just say that, like, this guy bought land in Texas off eBay.
Mm-hmm.
How much was it?
$500.
How much did you get?
5 acres.
You got 5 acres, so $100 per acre.
Okay.
Of Texas land on
$550
eBay.
Plus there was a $100 signing fee, so altogether $650.
$600 for 5 acres of land in Texas, and you bought
in
it
far
off
west
eBay.
Texas. I bought it off of eBay when I was 21 years old in the year
Right.
2003.
And you
That's
went there
how
with
old I
like
am.
some people and some swords
yeah,
and like a lot of water.
we had a whole plan to like kind of do some sort of like artist
Like a
colony
burning, like your
thing,
own
like
Burning Man type of.
yeah, that sort of wavelength, but without ever having been to Burning Man and barely being aware of what Burning Man was.
I wouldn't want to go to Burning Man unless I had about a lot of magic mushrooms with me. If you
I
go to
think that's the
Burning Man
point of
and
going
you
to
don't do
Burning Man.
psychedelics, I think you don't get it.
I don't.
Like the
I don't
finale is they set that big Burning Man on fire and you're tripping balls. Like if people
Right.
go there and they don't get that, I don't know how they get through the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I weirdly, I don't even want to go to Burning Man. Like I've never really desired to do it. Like I kind of want to go there.
I would go there for like one day, but if I have to
Right.
be there for like a week, no, thank you.
Well, that's the problem is you can't really go there because it's a whole thing to get there. And like, yeah, I don't know.
It's like a culture. Some people are like obsessed with it and they go every single year. You also
Yeah,
need, you need a cool bike.
When I lived in Texas, I moved back from Texas. Half of my friends had turned into Burning Man people,
there
and
you
like
go.
their whole lifestyle had become
But
Burning
it's just
Man.
like once a year, isn't it?
It's just once a year, but there are regional burns as well. So in Vermont,
Yeah, they
there's
call it a
something called
burn. Yeah. it's
in
so funny.
Vermont they call it Firefly, where bunch of Burning Man people just go up and hang out in the woods together, do a bunch of drugs, and have fun. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I like burning. I like a big bonfire.
I don't think you can. Yeah, so I used to have this van that I would
Wait,
drive.
let me just explain that.
Oh, sure.
The video cut out, and now I'm using my iPhone. Okay, continue. So we were talking about Burning Man.
Burning Man, but I wanted to go back to
But it's like the
my weird
Vermont
van
one?
for a second.
Oh, okay, okay.
If I could just tell a random story. So I used to like to drive around with that 100. So to talk about the public address system, this wasn't like some slim little thing. Like this was the year 1999. So this is a giant box that I got from Radio Shack that I had duct taped to my dashboard. And I wish I had a picture of it that I could show, but we used to blast music out of it, etc. But one of my favorite things to do would be to drive around really wealthy neighborhoods and just get on the public address system late at night, like 1 a.m, and just be like, "Stay in your homes. Please remain calm." And then just like,
Did anybody ever catch you?
nobody caught me doing that.
Wow.
So I would do that a lot.
You do that a lot?
Well, not a lot, enough. And enough to satisfy me anyway. And I used to, and I would get pulled over all the time, but it's funny, I never got pulled over for
enough
like
to
the things.
enough to satisfy you.
Yeah.
That was enough going through rich neighborhoods at night, scaring the shit out of people to satisfy me.
Yeah, that was enough. And, problem. Yeah. And then,
Oh my God.
I used to,
That's
and I would get
hilarious.
pulled over all the time, but I never got pulled over for the things that I should have gotten pulled over for.
Yeah.
I used to get onto the microphone and I would just be like, "Suey," like I was calling like the pigs, like I was calling the cops.
Right.
And like I'd just be like, "Suey," and I'd hear it bouncing off of the hilltops, like
my
like
God.
echoing around. And like,
So did the cops ever bother you about that speaker? or you were,
A few
or you
times,
got away
but
with it?
I got away with it. They never seemed to mind. Like we'd sometimes have a conversation over like our respective
Wow.
public address systems.
That's so funny.
And most cops were pretty cool. Like I never got a ticket. And by cool, I mean sort of
And
horrible.
then
like,
you
I sort
switched
of,
to a Crown Vic, didn't you?
I had a Crown Vic for a while.
I didn't know that. Like after when the police retire a Crown Vic because they got a new one because
Yep.
it's like 4 or 5 years old or whatever. As you can get them, but you just have to turn like the spotlight thing in so
Yep.
that people know you're not a police officer, right?
Yep.
But like you also got a Crown Vic, and that's like a V8 engine, isn't it? Like that's a fast car.
I would call that. I called it my goth muscle car because it was just like it was this
Right.
black car. It
Right.
it was a muscle car. Like it had a V8.
Yeah.
Like you slam down on that gas and you
Yeah,
were just.
you just take off.
And this car was like designed to crash into other cars on purpose.
Right.
But like honestly, like I gotta be honest, I feel like buying that car was a mistake.
Really?
Because you just feel like such an asshole driving it around
Right,
because
right.
like everyone's like getting out of
People
your way.
avoid
People
you.
are fearful of you.
Right.
I don't want to be mistaken for a cop. Like
Right, right.
I'm not. I don't know about you, but I'm not too much
So
of
it's
a
a
fan
little bit of an
police.
era.
It's a little bit of an era. It was an okay time, but like I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
I feel like it was kind of a foolish mistake to buy that car, but I had fun anyway.
Yeah.
So
There you go. That's what matters.
That's what matters, I guess.
Well, this was pretty fun, Gene. Thanks for chatting with me. Let me circle it back to coding.
Sure.
Will you test one of my apps once it's finished? Will you try to break it?
It depends on how much money you're gonna give me. That's not true. I'll test.
What
your
if I
app. I'll
buy
test
you
your
a
app for
beer
free.
and I give you $20 an hour?
No.
$30
I'll just do
an
it
hour.
I'll just do it for fun.
Okay.
I'll just test your app for fun. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Thanks for coming on, dude. That was
Yeah,
fun.
Of course.
I think so. Let me see. So, what's your current car? Is it wild and crazy, or is it just normal now?
Right now, I have for the first time in my life a car that isn't a novelty car.
Right.
I have a 2013 Subaru Impreza.
Oh, there you go.
Just a
Subarus
little
are fun. I had
It's a fun little car.
I had a Subaru Forester, and the 4-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive,
Yeah.
in the snow around here in New England, it's like my Subaru Forester was like a Jeep.
Yeah.
There'd be like a foot of snow. I'd just like cruise through it.
That's why I bought this car.
Yeah.
So that I could finally, for the first time in my life, have a car that was good in the snow.
Oh yeah, Subarus are so good in the snow.
But then I bought the car. It hasn't snowed because of climate change or something.
Right, right.
It just or random happenstance. It just hasn't snowed for like any real amount. Like it snowed like
Well, even right now, it's mid-October, and it's like a little bit warm for October.
it's a little bit warm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
remember-
feeling cold, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that it's
Let's go. Let's wrap this up and go hang out by the fire.
okay. That
we
sounds
got
good.
we got
to
a
me.
little fire pit session going. I want to thank my cousin Gene for joining me on my first episode of my podcast, Talkin Shop. Yeah, that was fun.
Peace.
Oh, there was one more thing I want to say.
Oh yeah.
The way you were saying "sweet" and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Remember at every August when we were kids, our grandparents would book us for like a week or two, like a beach house, like a little cottage beach house in Connecticut, and we had some neighbors who were kind of jerks, and they were kind of like rich kid neighbors.
Yep.
And this guy would sit on the front porch of our little cottage, and they would ride down. They would ride by on bicycles, and Gene at the top of his lungs would go, "Booyah!" And it would scare the shit out of them. I just remember that. It was so funny. You were just like, "Booyah!"
That's funny. I have literally no memory of that at all. I have no memory of that whatsoever.
All right, give me a pound, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
That was fun. All right.